beautiful. That's the word everyone used to describe Sherri Papini. With her long, platinum blonde hair and striking blue eyes, she seemed like she had stepped right out of a magazine. Sherri and her husband Keith looked like the perfect couple. They lived in Keith's childhood home in Redding, California, raising 2 young children in what appeared to be the perfect life. But beneath that picture-perfect surface, something dark was lurking, something that would soon tear their idyllic world apart. It was November 2, 2016. Keith Papini returned home from work at Best Buy to find his house eerily empty. No Sherri. No kids. The silence was unsettling, but Keith didn't panic. Instead, he calmly pulled out his phone and checked Sherri's location on the Find My iPhone app. She was only about a mile away, near Sunrise Drive and Old Oregon Trail. Keith assumed she had gone for a jog. But when he arrived at her location, what he found sent shivers down his spine.
I looked around outside, but at the time I was like, I'm sure they're all together. I had no reason to believe otherwise.
He opens up an app on his iPhone to see if he can track Sherri's location.
I did the, Find My iPhone app, and it showed where her phone was. So I assumed that's where she was, and I assumed that the kids were with her.
Where did the Find My Phone app show that Sherri was and you thought with the kids?
On near our mailbox, which is a ways away. It's about a mile away, actually.
Are you worried?
Not quite yet. And now I'm looking for a phone because it's saying it's here, it's here. And it did not take me long. It was right off the road.
Keith is stunned. It's Sherri's iPhone, lying in the grass, strands of her blonde hair tangled in the headphones.
There on the ground were Sherri's iPhone, her earbuds, and a clump of her blonde hair. But Sherri was gone, and Keith knew something was terribly wrong. The disappearance of Sherri Papini quickly became national news. Described as a supermom, Sherri's abduction tore at the hearts of everyone who heard the story. A young mother, ripped away from her beautiful family. How could this happen? For 22 days, Sherri was missing. Then, on Thanksgiving Day, she was found, bound in chains, near Interstate 5 in Woodland, north of Sacramento. She told a horrifying story. 2 Hispanic women had kidnapped her, tortured her, and even branded her. The community, her family, and the nation were in shock. Sherri couldn't remember much, but who could blame her? She had survived unspeakable horrors. But not everyone was convinced. You see, this story had eerie parallels to another case, the disappearance of Tara Smith, a Northern California teenager who went missing while jogging in 1998 and was presumed murdered. Sherri and Tara had gone to school together. The Smith family, who had invited Sherri and Keith over for dinner after Sherri's return, believed her story. At first. As the investigation continued, detectives uncovered disturbing inconsistencies. DNA found on Sherri's clothes didn't match her or her husband. It belonged to an unknown man. And when that DNA was finally matched, it led to a man named James Reyes, a 37-year-old from Costa Mesa, California. But Reyes wasn't just an anonymous kidnapper. He had a very different story to tell. According to Reyes, Sherri wasn't abducted. She had planned her disappearance and convinced him to help.
Be able to understand. The only way to control things is for us to know.
I don't want you to find her.
We're not going to find her.
She's the reason why I get to see my children every day.
I agree, but we're not going to find her.
She's the reason? What do you mean by that?
She means the younger one let her go. Right? That's what you're referring to? We're not going to find her. And we can just skip to the rock into the water and ruffle up the pond if we want to now. Again, this is your last this is the last time if you want to do this alone or with Keith. Keith's been through this also on a different level. So I'm ready I'm ready to move on and throw the dart and throw the rock and see what happens to the water. But Sherri, look at me. What do you want?
I don't want her to get in trouble.
She's not going to get in trouble. So the DNA came back to James Ray's.
The DNA that was on you belongs to James Ray's.
The picture in the, can I get the picture? The picture of the table is James Ray's little brother who died recently. We talked to him. He's been on a polygraph. We talked to everybody around him. We have the rental agreements, phone rental, the car rental agreements. We have everything that says that he said he told the truth.
That's James' brother, deceased Nick.
So everything, you've told us so many truths in this situation. The reason why you can describe the room is because you stayed in the room in the dark for hours, for days on end. The reason why you lost so much weight is because you stopped eating. The reason why you got a rash on your arm is because you cleaned his house. The reason why the brand is because he went to the store, bought the branding tools, and branded you. The reason why your nose was broke is because of a hockey stick. I know all of those things, and I know there was no sex. I know all of that because he passed a polygraph test. That said,
Reyes confessed that Sherri had stayed at his apartment, where she inflicted injuries on herself, including branding. He described how she asked him to help her lose weight, bruise herself, and even brand her with a hot tool, purchased from a local Hobby Lobby. Sherri's story of a terrifying abduction had all been a lie.
the problem is today's the case is resolved. Everything, the only things, well, how do we prove that you're telling us the truth? How do we prove that the truth is that two women took you, but I'm telling you it's a male? The fact that you were branded is true. The small fact is that you willingly laid down and did it versus being tied to a table. So we could do the polygraph and try to, whatever parts are you're confused about.
Can you go? Is that what you said?
Can I talk to you outside real quick? Or wait?
That's fine. The fears of how out of control everything got, the fear of all these things is the reality. And the only people that can slow the train down is you and I. Do you want to call James? This was a long road. I had no idea what it was going to take me. But right now, continuing and saying that two girls took you is a lie to Peter. It's just a lie. Because we were able to prove it with evidence. With a rental car agreement, person driving to 1,000 miles in a day, the DNA on you, and him passing a polygraph, it's three legs to a table it can stand on.
Kate's gonna wait out there. Now's your opportunity. Based on your reaction previously, what you're telling me is you did not call James and ask him to come get you? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, I have to understand that. There are things he says that we can corroborate, and whatever you say, we're going to try and corroborate. But right now, I'm not sure what you're saying. You're just saying you can't believe it's him. And you're saying you don't understand. But there are details he provided. We know you were in his house. We collected hairs from that bedroom. That's going to have DNA on it. We already have your hairs that you left with your cell phone when you were picked up. Why leave? Is James lying to us?
I won't believe me. I said I want to be with my children. I would never leave my children.
But you didn't leave them permanently. You came back to them. Ultimately.
No.
You left them every day at daycare, so it's not like, hey. And James talked about that decision when you were driving down, how hard that was. You left at 10 o'clock knowing that Keith was going to get home late knowing you were gonna leave the kids at daycare, and how much that tore you up on the drive down. You told us that. Then things got out of
James
control.
and I talked about that. We did talk about that before. When I went out of town for work.
What happened?
Always talking to other guys. Oh my god, why did I do that?
Like when you were in Eureka, you give them a call? Just start chatting with them? Told them some of your problems? And when did it turn from just chatting to this plan to get away?
No.
You were getting a hold of Donovan Mitski the night before.
Why did I do that?
We're trying to understand why you did that too.
We're trying to understand all of it.
I don't know how this is happening because I was doing that.
Doing
It's
what?
such an awful choice. Talking to other guys that has got me here.
So what aspect are you saying? Like, how does talking to other people got you here? We've gotten
I
over.
love my husband. And I made mistakes and I talked to other men that I shouldn't have.
But we took it a step farther this time.
This is a little different than just chatting with them. I appreciate you talking and being forthright about the other guys you were talking to. When did it turn into something more? Obviously, you never would have imagined that CNN in 2020 and Good Morning America would care about you wanting to leave Keith or wanting to teach him a lesson or wanting to get him in line.
No, I was just talking to James and I don't want to leave my husband.
Right,
I
but
love my husband.
how are you
I was just talking to James.
How are you talking to James?
I don't want to leave my husband.
Sure. How were you talking to James? On your cell phone or another cell phone?
My work cell phone. I don't want to leave my husband. I don't want to leave my husband.
This was more like just a flirt?
What's your work cell phone number?
Remember?
What's that?
I don't remember.
How long were you guys talking?
I don't know.
Why would he rent a car and come and get you?
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know that, why would you get in the car and go down to Costa Mesa?
Those are all things we can verify, Sherri. The car rental, the fuel, the mileage, the calls from you to him, the burner phone, all that can be proven.
It's horrible.
I don't think you're a horrible person, Sherri. I think things went a little sideways on you.
We started this conversation.
The public had rallied around Sherri, but her hoax came at a tremendous cost. More than $230,000 in public funds and countless hours of police work. In early 2022, Sherri was charged with making false statements, mail fraud, and fraudulently claiming over $30,000 from California's Victim Compensation Fund. Though she faced a 35-count federal indictment, she eventually pleaded guilty to just 2 counts, mail fraud and lying to law enforcement. Sherri was sentenced to 18 months in prison, but served less than a year before her release in August 2023. And so ends the twisted tale of Sherri Papini, a story that captivated the nation, only to reveal a web of lies. What drives someone to create such a deception? Was it desperation, a cry for help, or something more sinister? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if there's a story you'd like to hear next, drop your suggestions.